Hello, good morning. Very happy Friday to everybody. How's everybody doing? Uh, Let me introduce myself. My name is Zairo from Accordia Training. This is my partner.
Yes, I'm Jega, and nice to see everyone once again in our session. And hopefully, everything has gone well with the MCO. We have come to the recovery stage right now. And yesterday there was something very interesting. That I was going back home and I had some experience which I did not have in the last 3 months. I got stuck in a traffic. Okay, good. So good. You see, traffic is always an indication. Internally in Accordia, we have this thing. How do we know whether the economy is recovering? Two things. Whether are we getting stuck in a traffic? Because we're getting stuck in traffic means people have jobs. Second thing is, can you find parking in a mall on a weekend? And if you can find parking in a mall on a weekend, you better be cautious about it. But if you can't find parking in the mall, at any malls in the weekend, you better thank God for that. I think things are getting better. So we'll find out this weekend whether this.
Yes. I think there will be. We'll be going to some malls this weekend. But you're right, Jaga. It's when there's traffic means things are coming back. Just like us, we are already moving into the office, and we're seeing even in our office area, the parking is starting to be as per normal, which means very difficult to find parking, and even people are starting to double park. So this is at a certain level, it's a little bit annoying, but at the same time, economically, it is a good sign that we are coming back.
Yeah, I think that's more important. The fact that we know that things are coming back to normal, some normality is coming in, and I guess work from home will still be there for a while. Yeah. And for some organization, especially like us, for us, we have a new realization about this whole concept of work from home. And today, the culture in Accordia is that you can choose where you want to work from, and we're going to probably practice that even after this whole thing is over. But we're just committed to deadlines and all. But coming to this thing about this normality of coming back together and all, one of the things that is going to happen is that we're going to have this situation that we used to have. Now, this is not a this is not an unusual, a new situation. Mm-hmm. And that brings to the topic of today's discussion is about how do you deal with this concept of multiple bosses and conflicting priorities. Like one says, I need it today, another one says, no, I also need it today. And everyone thinks that their work is more important. And I think in an environment where we are becoming more network, we work in multiple projects while we're having our main work. This multiple bosses, this thing about dotted line reporting, double line reporting, thick line, thin line reporting, all this line of reportings are going to be there. I think this is something that we need to manage as well.
I think this is interesting because I would like to share that prior to us being bosses, we also had multiple bosses, and I think what the value here is what we experienced back then is what we're experiencing now, and we learned so much from that experience 13, 14 years ago. Yep. And we're relating it to what we didn't like then is what we're practicing now. I think that is the value here. I would like to shout out to welcome to Ben. We'd like to welcome Jess. Thank you so much for joining us.
If you're around, just say hi or something like that.
Yes.
We can still see the live version of it.
So if you see our eyes going down, we are just checking out who is with us.
Yeah.
And if you have any comments and any questions, you can already shoot out. So Jega and I had a few thoughts, a few pointers, and how do you deal with this multiple superior. Number one, if I may begin, the first one is make your superior aware of your current tasks. Sometimes they are not aware of what you are currently doing. And I guess this is perfectly natural. People just, superiors will just come and based on urgency, based on the current need, they will just tell you this is need to be done, this is need to be done. So make your superior aware, even if they did not ask you if you're working on anything. Make sure that they are aware on your current task, what you are working on. In this portion, I would like to bring up this thing called moral courage. I remember some time ago when I was working for a semi-government organization where people are very much afraid to speak out, mainly because the superior was the type that's very authoritative. So people would just say yes,
Right.
and yes and yes, but without realizing that they are just being bombarded with so much tasks
Correct.
without speaking out.
And I guess sometimes this awareness thing is, it's not that they want to bog us down with work.
Yeah.
I think two things that happens. One is sometimes they see you as very reliable, and they feel like I can get more job done through this particular person. So they have this thing. We've seen that in team building thing, and when people come and talk to us personally, it's like, my boss always passes it to me. Why is that everything comes to me?
Yeah.
It's because that maybe you're a personality or a character that gets things done, and because of that people tend to depend. But here's the catch to that: they might not be aware that they are overloading you with work. Now, I think in most cases that you've seen that this is the normal practice among experienced managers, is that before passing a task, they'll always ask, "What are you busy with right now?"
Yeah.
But and they check, what are you doing? Okay, and you take on this, and they'll actually have a conversation. But at times, some of them are oblivious to this. They just pass the task. That's one. The other one is maybe just on that day they forgot. There's just so many things going on, and they forgot to ask you. And we did not have that courage to actually at least explain to them, here's this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm working on. Right.
Yeah.
So then it takes on to point number two. All right. So point number two is that first one is how do you make your superior be aware about what you need to. Point number two is that ask the right questions so that you will save time. Now this is another challenge we have. You need to ask the right question based on the personality that's dealing with you. Now there are some bosses who are very particular, meticulous about details. So if you don't ask the question about details, then what's going to happen is that you're going to produce something and give, and then they say, no, this is not what I wanted. I wanted this, I wanted this, I wanted this, I wanted this. Okay? But they may not tell you those details when the task is given.
Yes.
Now, I think this is the part we talk about. You just now we talk offline. We were talking about empathy when there are so many priorities that's happening among these bosses that or leaders or managers that they might not realize to give the full detail. So
I think that mostly is about it's balancing wanting to give the task and as well as time. They want to quickly just tell you, this is a task, I need this done, and then they're off to another task. I think when you're talking about empathy, it's also understanding why they came to you in such urgency.
Yeah. And I think getting that information about this task, what's the detail, how would you like it and all, that will save us time from getting the thing done. Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of back and forth. And that's just not effective use of personal time. So that's point number two. Point number two is ask the right question based on the personality of the person that you're reporting.
If I may add on to that, Jaga, especially today, where now working environment has multiple layers. If it's face-to-face, maybe it's a little bit easier. If you are in the physical office, it's very simple, especially when you have an open door concept. But what happens when you're working at home and everybody's working at home? communication is not so fast. It's not as quick as it used to be. So that will play a vital role in terms of asking the right questions,
Right,
meeting with
right.
the right bosses.
Okay, great.
Okay, so now we are to point number 3, right? So point number 1 was make your superiors aware. Number 2 is about asking the right questions, and number 3 is for somebody who's receiving this task. It is vital that you request for a deadline. You need to understand when they want it done. Sometimes we just say, okay, yes, and then we don't know when it's expected to be done, and so we just rush on it. We immediately deep dive into it and put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So what is important is to ask for a deadline. Be specific. What is the date? If you want to go to a lot more detail, exactly what time you want on the desk. ASAP is not an answer. Right? It's just ASAP, right? So be specific. Again, going back to point number 2, ask the right question. So if they say like, I want this fast, so you ask, what do you mean by fast? Tomorrow, 9 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock today. So be asking back, reflecting back to point number 2, asking the right questions. All right. So now, upon requesting for deadlines, say for example, you are still so bogged down with other tasks. Either it could be a task from the same superior or a task from a different superior. Now, please allow yourself to negotiate with the superior to ensure that you can deliver what was asked. Because, say for example, Superior A will not know what Superior B gave you in terms of tasks. So, you gotta first ask for the deadline, and second is negotiate. See if you can, say, I'm working on the boss A's task. Will it be okay if I work on yours maybe tomorrow once I get that time? Right? So negotiate, give yourself a little bit of a breather to make sure that you can deliver quality.
Okay, right. I think that part of negotiating the deadline is a bit important, because for all you know, it is really not urgent. But because we don't ask for the deadline,
Yeah.
we assume that it's urgent. And so-and-so has given me this job and all that. But the thing is, once again, going back to the thing, they forgot to give you the information. And if we just ask for a deadline, for all you know, the deadline is, no, this submission is only end of the month. So, okay, end of the month submission, but when do you need it? Next week is fine. So, next week is fine. But when we don't ask for it, then we end up taking it on. However, there are times when you're going to ask and they're going to say that in terms of negotiation, they're going to tell you that, I'm sorry, this is urgent. Now you're caught in a situation. The other superior has given you a task and that is running, and this person has come and given you another task and said that, no, I need this urgently compared to this. Now what do you do in that kind of situation? Now first part was actually negotiate. So one other part of negotiation is actually to tell them that, look, I am actually currently working on this, could I do this later? Could I do this in the afternoon? But they say, no, it has to be done right now. And this is where sometimes we get so pressured, tensions start building up and all. So here's the next one. Point number 4 is, if the superior insists on a deadline, then negotiate with the other superior about this urgency and give them information, explain it properly to them why this urgency has come about. Now here is a very important thing. You do not want to pit two superiors head on. Now, I know most people don't do that, but there are some people out there that are very malicious. They just see this opportunity, okay, I'll just pit both of them together and all that. You see, I don't know, that can potentially backfire.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're not careful, it backfire, because the moment both realize that you're doing this, they're going to look at this person and say that, no, this is not a trustworthy person and all that. So what you want to do is, you always be solution focused in this thing. You want to find a solution. So let's say, for example, Zyrol has given a task, and I am giving another task. And I say then this is urgent. So what can the person do? It's like, maybe what you can do is that speak to the other superior, saying that in this case, let's say Zyrol, go and speak to the superior, saying that so and so has asked me to get this done. Could you please allow me to get this done tomorrow morning? And for all you know, you might just get a yes. This is where sometimes people think that they won't get a yes.
Yeah.
That's an assumption.
Yeah.
About that they won't get a yes. But just ask for it. You might get a yes.
Yeah. And that actually brings down to or relate to the moral courage.
Yep.
You won't know until you ask.
That's right.
And to add on to that, actually, it could link to actually our current point, point number, what point are we on? Number four, right? And as well as point number 3, is about keeping a tight, very precise schedule. I think that will definitely save you from a lot of headache and heartache, because you are getting multiple tasks and with multiple deadlines. Sometimes it's just keeping it in your memory is not enough, and you won't be able to prioritize. So once you have a clear and concise schedule, what needs to be done, how long are you going to spend on, how much time are you going to spend on a certain tasks, and that will definitely keep your working flow clearer and better. Of course, keeping you sane at the same time. So keeping a tight schedule is very vital. Right now, today there are so many tools, and most of them are free. Yeah. This is important, and it can help you in terms of what you need to be done. This will also make you realize that if you're spending too much time on a very simple task, that means there's something wrong. It could be it's just not focused. It could be that you're tired, or you just need a break. So keeping a schedule really helps keeping you up to date and ready to complete your tasks.
Yeah, sometimes what happens is that I think the most difficult part would be like what we just now said, is that you just negotiate with the other superior, and you might get a yes. But here's the situation: what if you get a no from both?
No.
Okay, now that's even thing, and that won't happen
You
all
lose
the time.
more hair.
Yeah, you lose more. I think it won't happen all the time, but I think it will happen sometime. Now, this is the part where it's important for us to develop. Once again, the word here is moral courage. The moral courage is to actually bring the awareness. In other words, if you need to have a one-on-one, I think, one thing good is that please have a one-on-one with your superiors on and off, just to tell them about what you're doing. Because that will heighten the level of awareness that for people to know that you are busy, you're doing so many things. And I tell you why this is very important. Now, have you seen in companies, we have these personalities which are like the exhibitionists.
Right.
They don't get much work done, but they're the most busiest person over there. They walk from one end to another.
Yes.
Getting things done, And then we have the ones who really get a lot of things done, but they're most the quietest mouse in the company, but they get a lot of work done. Now, understand, this is what happens. There's a saying in English, the squeakiest wheel gets the oil first, right? The exhibitionist will be able to tilt some level of psychology in the superior because they just portray a personality of getting a lot of work done. The quiet one may not be that kind of an exhibitionist, but they get the job done. But the challenge here is this: you will have more deadlines that you are missing compared to the other person. So what happens when it comes to promotion? The superior is going to evaluate. Now, if you're lucky, you got a very good superior who is excellent, knows how to see things objectively, great. But a lot of times, I tell you, we've worked with so many organizations and we have seen that pockets of things can go wrong where they are not that kind of people, they are not detailed. So what they see is that, oh, so and so has been all on deadline, but this person been missing so many deadlines without realizing they have given this person more work than the other thing. So I think now, but this is not to suggest that to be an exhibitionist, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this brings us to point number 5. I think people don't have the intention, but sometimes we just forget, right? Because we understand everybody's just busy. It's one thing after another. Got to get things done. Bam, 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 bam. Sometimes people tend to forget to update. Now, it's so vital that when your task is done, please immediately update your superior. I mean, sometimes it's been done for a month. As superior, possibly you have so many things happening, you tend to forget the task that you gave to anybody, right? So the importance of updating is you are indicating the task is done, right? And this is an avenue to improve certain things if required, right? Now, sounds easy. That's when the task is done. Then you can move on. But what happens if you cannot complete your tasks? What happens when you can't meet the deadline? What should you do? Wait and wait for something not so happy is going to come to you.
Magically for it to happen.
So when your task is not done, or when you cannot complete it on time, also you must update. This will also relate to point number 3, where this is where you can negotiate for an extension. See how, maybe you require somebody else to assist you. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you need further information. So, always update consistently. Update your boss if it's done, and update if you cannot get it done on time. I mean, this is really the important part of communication.
But I used to ask this question: Why is that people don't update when they can't get it done? Are they afraid?
Possibly, but I think they're mostly just busy, because the thing is, you're done. I'm done. That's it. Even if you're done and you send the email, the document, and sometimes it will just skim through, especially where they get 50, 100 emails per day.
Correct,
yours could be one that is part and parcel of select all and delete. So,
Okay. I think you're right, because that delay thing goes back to the personality type. If you have a boss, I had this kind of boss once. This was,
hope he's not watching.
Yeah, I cannot reveal the gender. Then they'll say it's gender bias. But then the fact that I've said this, you already know. Okay. Right.
So did I say he?
No, it's a she. She. Okay. So it's just that in Chinese they have a term. They call it kanchong. This boss was kanchong, mega.
I was hoping that you didn't swear, but okay.
No. Yeah. So it's like a person like, is this done? Is this done? Is this done? It's a kind of breathing down your neck kind of person. It really gets you uncomfortable. Especially if you are the kind of personality that needs to be left. And I think that will actually affect a lot. So since we know the personality is that, just give them the update. If that needs to be given an update, just give them an update, because updating them once will actually solve that. But if this is happening constantly, I think that goes back to the moral courage. I think it's important to have that one-on-one. You know what, guys? Please go and have a one-on-one. Initiate a one-on-one with your superior. A lot of times we wait for the appraisal, for them to initiate a one-on-one. I think it's important for us to initiate a one-on-one and go and tell them that, look, I'm having this challenge. But one more thing about organization: bosses or managers or leaders, they do not want to hear your challenge. They are okay about hearing your challenge, provided you have a suggested solution.
Correct.
So never go and tell them, oh, he has given me this task, he has given me this task, what am I supposed to do? That's not going to help. You may want to tell them, okay, he has given me this task, he has given me this task. I tell you what, can I do this? And for all you know, because you have the solution mindset of bringing the solution, they might just say yes.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting. Jaga and I have been working with a few organizations, and this is what we have observed. Usually, the avenue or the facilities for people to speak out concerns are there, but people just don't take it.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Town halls.
Okay.
Town halls are an avenue for updates. Town halls are avenue for Q&A, and possibly realign direction and so on and so forth. When there are, this is a question possibly you can ask yourself. When there's an opportunity to ask questions, did anybody ask? If there were, probably somebody who has already earned that moral courage. Ask. I know it is very difficult, especially where you have everybody there and all eyes are on you. It's a bit difficult. There are also other avenues. For example, during the town hall, it could be voicing out. It could be, writing your comments and put it inside the box so it stays unanimous. But take this opportunity. I'm sure there's a lot of questions. When we run like a team alignment program session, where we actually got the superior to be right in front, and it becomes like an open dialogue. But that will only take place upon certain level of warming up, ice breaking, that people feel that I feel that I'm comfortable to ask questions. But
defrosting.
Defrosting, right? But you'll be so surprised by the results that we got. Once everybody's warmed up, the question just keeps on coming and coming. And the questions are really good quality questions, because this allows the leader of the organization to, these guys are with me actually. They understand me. They understand the organization and they care about the organization.
That's right. Yeah.
Right? So, it's so important to make use of these facilities. Others I have seen, even they have created like a exhibition. They've created small rooms where people can have a one-to-one discussion. That facility was available, but nobody signed up. So so sometimes the facilities is there.
Yeah, the opportunities are given,
Correct.
but it's not taken. So let's just summarize it. We are close to the end. We'll have some questions here we'll answer.
Okay.
So in summary, we have the 5 points. Our team will just put it out, full 5 points in the comments. First, number one is make your superiors aware of your current task. They need to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Have the moral courage to bring that up. Number two, ask the right question based on their personality. Different personalities have different kind of urgencies and all that. So ask that. And that brings to number three is request for a deadline, and if necessary, negotiate. Okay, if you have conflicting stuff, they need to know, negotiate. And number four is if a superior insists on a deadline, then go to the other superior, not in a malicious way, but going there to at least tell them that, explain in detail what's really going on. No? And number five is update when a task is done or delayed. All right. So we have some questions, Errol, here. So Nas, how are you, Nas? So Nas is here. Nas has a new boss. Oh, yeah, he has a new boss coming soon. All right. Big news in the country. All right. So answer from Nas is that, this one is a very, you want to take this question? The deadline is always yesterday.
It's not ASAP, is it? This is actually a very, very important question, because this is very common. When do you need it? Yesterday. So, Nas, I would recommend that you find a time machine. The time machine will bring you back to yesterday and you can get it done yesterday. Right? Of course, my answer is illogical. So far, we don't have a time machine just yet. In the making. Yeah. Peter is working on that. But anyway, this will go back to the moral courage. You gotta, when you want a logical explanation, or when you want to give a logical explanation, you have to be within reality. yesterday is not an answer, but I know it's paraphrased. It's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's indicating that they want it quickly, right? So again, request for a deadline. Yesterday is impossible. I understand that yesterday means urgent. I want it now. I want it as fast as possible. So first is bringing out your moral courage. Speak directly to the superior. Ask when is appropriate. Yeah, I can't deliver it to you in 5 minutes because you just gave me the instruction.
That's right.
So be a little bit realistic. Put your foot down. I'm not saying being rude. I'm not saying being authoritative. I'm saying is you can demand with respect. So ask, when can I deliver this? That is logical for the both of you.
I think that's being assertive. And probably will be another topic, assertive. How do you be assertive? How do you tell things in a way where it's firm but not rude? Okay, I think that's another thing.
Thank you.
So there's another comment here from Izam Khairuddin. As a superior supervisor working with colleagues for more than 5 years, I'm experiencing that they are comfortable enough. Congratulations, that's great. Okay, the fact that they're comfortable coming and talking to you will be good. And some do, some don't, which is correct. No matter how much you be open, transparent. This is going for. We've been addressing the team members, but these are for the leaders out there. Accept the fact that no matter how open you are, there will be some people who will not be coming back to you. Okay, so it's tiring.
Yeah, I also would like to add to what Jagger is saying is also provide multiple facilities. Some people are shy. If you ask in the open, of course they won't speak out. So give other avenues. Like they could WhatsApp you directly, for example, send you an email, for example. So provide multiple channels on how they can communicate.
Yeah, different channels.
With you. Yeah.
Okay, Kartini has said fruitful discussion. Thank you very much, Kartini. And then Maslina, I'm lucky to have bosses like you. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, and
was that another question?
No, that's just our.
Okay.
Okay. Then Jess, hey Jess, how are you? Okay, nice meeting you. We should catch up. I think after this we can catch up.
Yeah.
Social distancing, just have 3 hours will be in 2 different tables. Okay. Guys, we are in challenging time. Employees are expected to perform more. Your thoughts? We are in challenging time. Employees are expected to perform more.
Thank you, Jess, for the question. And I think we can answer based on our own experience. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Jagger. And when we were forced to work from home, of course, there are challenges. Definitely not perfect. While you're trying to have a meeting, there's your kids are knocking on the door, and your spouse or your family member is consistently asking you for questions, asking you what you want to eat. It's nice, but these are distractions, right? What we find that during the MCO, when people are forced to work from home, we kind of created new, I wouldn't say rules, but we just have different procedures. We meet with each other every morning. I think almost every morning, but this is not like by force. This is almost naturally. When we meet every morning, we spend about 1 hour with each other, and it's not necessarily about work.
This was during MCO.
Yes, correct. This is just to make sure that's clear at the beginning of MCU. So just to make sure that everybody's morale is still high, everybody is still okay and healthy. I think this is part and parcel of how we manage our team and how we manage each other. During this period, morales will go up and down, but I think that 1 hour every morning will really help. Now, from that, we also discovered that from working from home, there are some things that move faster as compared to working in the physical office. We're not too sure why. It could be because the level of focus is greater, or it could be because in the office also there are distraction. I know I do that because every time 12 o'clock I'll be like, hey, Where should we eat?
Well,
Where do we
your
eat?
famous question. At 12 and 4.
Oh my god. Right? So there's distraction at home and at the workplace as well. It is about how you manage to deal with distraction at home or even at the workplace. So I think we find some things move faster when we work from home.
All right. Great. Thank you very much for that, Azarul. I hope that answered you, Jess, on that. Then the other one was Zareen here suggested a great topic, great info sharing. Another topic, handling difficult superior or staff. That's two different topics.
My God, yes.
Superior.
But thank you for that.
Thank you for that. We'll look into that as well. Nas asked another one: how to deal with stakeholders? Yeah, is there a difference? Let me see. His question was: how do you deal with bosses who are also stakeholders and shareholders? Is it different from bosses who just run as an officer? I'll take that. I think stakeholders, you see, after a certain level, especially when you are holding a certain position, they are okay about challenges. They know that in the workplace there will be challenges, but they just do not want you to come and tell the challenge without a solution. That's it. I think they want the solution. At a lower level, when you're talking about officers who are executives are reporting or non-execs are reporting, they are somehow sort of got immune to the fact that, because they end up becoming the problem solver. So whatever, they are not asking for solution. But the moment it goes higher up there, people are asking for solution. They want to know what's your solution. So it's okay about bringing challenges, but bring it with solution. Bring it with true solution, and they always will look at you with different kind of respect, because you're the kind of person who will not just bring a problem, but you're bringing a solution. And that, even if you're non-exec or exec, start practicing it. You find that your career path will be much better that way.
Just to add an experience, I was speaking to this HR manager, and I would not recommend this practice, but this is what I understand the reason behind it, but the practice I would not encourage.
Okay, this is interesting. We'll finish up with that.
Okay. So what happens is, if somebody comes into her room with a problem and just spill out the problem, she will just listen, and then she will give you a pack of peanuts. So I asked, why did you give peanuts? She said, when you come in with a problem without a solution, you're just a monkey. A monkey will get a peanut. So that's the analogy. So the practice is wrong, as I mentioned, right? I would not encourage it. But the idea here is to encourage people to come in with a problem and as well as potential solution. You may not have the right solution, but you've already got thinking into what could be the possible solution. So go in with a problem as well as a solution.
That's a good way of putting it.
Don't supply peanuts in your office, please.
Then suddenly you have a very creative staff who comes in it's okay, I brought my own peanuts. Okay guys, I think that's all time we have today, and thank you so much
Thank you very much.
tuning in. If you have other topics that you'd like us to talk about, we wanted this session to be a bit more specific, not the macro stuff that you need to be this communication, leadership, teamwork, pyramid, whatever the thing is. We want it to be a bit more specific, something useful and something good for teams, because we have always seen a lot of podcasts and video casts and all that is addressing leaders, but something team members. There are a lot of people who do not know what to do. How do you ask for a raise, for example? Maybe not now. Let things get better. That'll be suggesting thing internally. Okay, right, I think we should end it here.
No, we have peanuts. Don't worry.
Okay, guys. So thank you so much, and we hope to see you again.
Thank you. Stay home, stay safe, and take care of each other.